Now you might pray to God, y'all, but I like Lucifer best of all. Don't keep changing, waiting. Don't keep changing, waiting. Sunday school is a place for fools. It's hot in hell, but the devil's cool. Don't keep changing, waiting. Don't keep changing, waiting. So don't just sit there, join the club. Sell your soul to Beelzebub.
Hello, all you out there in streamer land and in the YouTube world. I am Count Jackula, and it's time for another satanic stream. As you can tell, the sin is in, and tonight we are sinning with Jesse Sharon, artist, author of The Sea in You. It is the Sea in You. Okay, because I was calling it the Ocean in You, and then I realized that was wrong.
Probably would have been at least better because people are always like, is it S-E-E? Or I'm like, it's like the ocean because it's a mermaid. So,
well, right. Yeah. That's how I eventually remembered it was the sea in you, not the ocean in you, because it was like the sea, and the sea, you know. It rolls off the tongue fairly easily as opposed to ocean in you. Wait, that, you know, doesn't.
Such a vague title now that I'm like, I probably should have put like mermaid something in the title for like maximum search engine optimization, but I was like, I want to be poetic. So, you know.
You got to do what the art tells you, you know, otherwise it's a problem, you know, and sometimes the title is part of the art.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, that was actually, that book was actually pretty successful. You got a lot of accolades for it.
Yeah, it was in Publishers Weekly twice last year. It was in the American Library Association's 20 best graphic novels, like queer graphic novels, 20 best queer books last year, American Library Association. And I was also in the Mary Sue's top 20 comics of the year. I think it's gotten like 4 stars overall on Goodreads, which is pretty good, especially for a first book. I found it recently, like the average first book ever for an author only sells like 2,000 copies.
Yeah.
And the last report I got like a week ago, it was over 6,000. So that's really good for a first time author.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been a full year yet, but like, and it got up to like, it got up into the top 10 on like YA romance comics, YA fantasy comics. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, it was good.
Excellent. Yeah. It was really, it's a really cool story. I think my favorite part is I hate this stupid rectangle.
Yeah, because like I was thinking, like, if you didn't know what a phone was, you would just see like your friend always very upset when they're holding and looking at a rectangle, and they'd be like, you should get rid of that one. It's like,
I don't know what that is, but it's clearly not making you upset, you know?
Sorry, this is so precarious. All right, but that was like her best understanding of that, and like I was like, it's tangentially related, but I remember I would like go to parties with this girl, and every time she drank, she got sad, and I was just like, you don't like drinking. And she's like, what? I was like, you don't like it. It just gives you a bad time. You shouldn't do it. It's okay. I was
like, It's why I don't smoke weed a lot. It's, you know, like, hey, what happens if you smoke weed? I start getting I'm really hyper aware. I'm really hyper aware. So when things start to like get by me, I get really upset, and weed puts you in a state where things will just get by you. And that makes me very upset. You know, I don't like it. I get like, I get strangely very edgy and very, very tetchy.
I think it has to do with like how different people have different brain chemistry, because my husband also gets mad edgy. We were watching Blue Planet, something like Planet Earth, like one of those documentaries, and it was like about the Arctic Ocean, and we were laying in bed watching it, and all of a sudden he like stood up and he was like standing like this, and he goes, I'm gonna fall down. And I was like, you won't fall down. He's like, I will. And I was like, not if you lay on the bed. He's like, no. And he stood there for like 2 hours and I felt so bad. And I was like, okay, you like beer and I'll have weed and we'll just have a different time. So, because like for me, I have a fun, silly time, or it just makes my pain like less, or like if I'm in a sad state, it's like turns the volume of the sadness down. Like it makes me just a little like you like being aware, and it makes me
Yes.
like it's like if what was there? There was literally an X-Men character, Mr. Sensitive, I think his name was. His name was literally Mr. Sensitive, and he had like his senses were turned up way too high, so like normal stimuli was really painful to him.
Oh, geez.
And so talk about a bummer of a power. But like but yeah, for me it's like weed is just like, let's just turn it just down from an 11 to like a 6, like you know what I mean? So there's actually a lot of X-Men characters with like chronic pain. Like I loved Strong Guy. Do you know who Strong Guy is?
Yes.
I love Strong Guy. He has like super muscles, but his joints are fucked up. And he like compensates with like humor and being like an extra sweet person.
Yeah. He's got like the one wisp of white hair, and he's like this huge guy.
He's so weird looking.
Yeah.
He looks like, he reminds me, he looks kind of like, they draw him kind of different too. He almost looks like what was that character? Max Max.
The Max.
Max. Yeah,
the Max.
Like that hulking forward, like shoulder heavy. I might have to put the dogs away. I'm sorry. Hang on 1 second.
No problem.
Because they're having a very good time. But they're very. Hold on.
They're being dogs.
Come on.
Hey, Victor Necker, Front Chrome Bison. How you guys doing?
This is Brody.
Oh,
he's a very good boy.
He's so adorable. We're monsters for making him.
Go bed. Go bed.
Poor little guys. Hey, Epiphany's Realm, how you doing? We were chatting with Jesse Sharon today, but there has been a dog intrusion, so that has to be handled. Hey, Dustin J, how's it going? We're having some technical difficulties. Of the puppy variety. You have to excuse us.
He's so cute. He doesn't understand that I'm talking to you. So I think he's thinking she's talking to me. And when he gets happy, he spins really fast. And he was like knocking the iPad over. And I was like, oh. So he can go to bed.
Horger used to have this dog that was a Chihuahua that you couldn't pick up. Because if you picked up, she would get so excited she would pass out.
What have we done to Wolf?
I know.
I'm so sorry.
You know, I tried to do the Lion King thing with her, and he's like, don't do that. Do not do that. She will black out. She will get so excited. And I was like, so put the dog down. You know.
Very gently, yeah.
How am I feeling after yesterday? I'm feeling okay. You know, yesterday I was on Twitch playing V Rising, the vampire Minecraft game. Essentially,
is it fun?
It is.
I've never played it, and like I'm into vampires lately because I'm like writing my ridiculous vampire romance novel.
Yeah, so if you like the idea of running around in a world and like building a castle, like the game will be right up your alley. Because that's the main part. I mean, there is combat. You do have to fight things.
Do you play as a vampire?
Yeah, you are a vampire. You're like like a vampire lord, and you awake in a tomb, and you're like, I've got nothing, and then it says like, quick, kill a skeleton and steal its bones. Okay, now make a sword out of its bones.
It's like that game where you start with a paperclip and you like end with a car, like for charity.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminded me, the video game it reminded me the most of was Vanaheim.
Oh
where
yeah,
you're
okay,
like a
yeah.
little Nordic person who's
Mhm.
doing that. And
That sounds fun.
V Rising has a tie-in with Castlevania.
Oh,
So
okay.
like
That's
there's
cool.
Simon Belmont's in the thing in the game. He's a boss you have to defeat. Like
That's
if you buy the
fun.
expansion, you get like special Castlevania shit to put in your castle.
That's so
And
cute.
yeah, you get like
That's so like
Alucards. Like
Animal Crossing.
I know,
like,
I know.
like, no, we have Sanrio characters for V Rising this week. We have a BTS crossover.
I would not be surprised. I'm hoping they keep going with it. Like they keep developing stuff for it.
Have you heard of the completely unhinged Tom and Jerry like Chinese 2D game they have going on with like there's like original characters and really elaborate art. I have to look it up. It's called something crazy, and like nobody knows what I'm talking about. It's huge in China because like they were trying to license American characters, and Tom and Jerry was cheap because nobody gives a shit. Like
Right.
even the current Tom and Jerry stuff in America is like that Willy Wonka movie that nobody wanted. Let me see. Tom and
I
Jerry
see one
Chinese
I see one called
game.
Japanese iPhone game, but I
No,
mean
it's called. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna make sure I have it right. I think it's just called Tom and Jerry Chase. Hold on, let me see and make sure. Yes, Tom and Jerry Chase. Um, oh my gosh, there's a wiki. Okay. This art is nuts. It's a gotcha game. Okay, I'm giving you a link because you have to see this.
okay.
It's like they're drawn in like a Final Fantasy clothes, but it's still Tom and Jerry.
What?
Look, no one believes me. It's like I've seen a ghost or Jesus coming out of the tomb. I'm like, it's real. I swear to God. Okay, I just sent it. I said, okay, I'm her. But anyway, I sent you the link on Discord. You should be able to see it now. It's
Okay.
on esports something something.
It says
No, why is
four
this?
oh, it says 404.
Oh my gosh, he's trying to prove to me that it's not real. This is a conspiracy against me. It's the Slender Man. Hold on, I'm trying again. Hold on, I'm gonna try again. For the love of God. It came up on like Reddit. All right, let me see if that works. Visit site. Okay, click it now. Click the second
Okay,
one.
I see it.
Okay. So
Detective Jerry what?
yeah, if you scroll down, there's like angel and a devil one with like one wings, and they have like slutty eyes. There's like they're dressed for like the Cherry Blossom Festival. One is like a Three
What?
Musketeers.
I'm
There's one like it's really popular in China.
I I don't know how to respond to this.
I fell down a rabbit hole looking at this shit for hours. Hours. Because somebody was like, well, there's a trans boy cat in the game. And I was like, what are you talking about? And someone else was like, oh no, it's not an original character. It's based off of a character from the original cartoon in the 40s. And again, I'm like, what are you talking about? And apparently, because calico cats are always girls, there's a calico kitten that they call he in the Tom and Jerry cartoon. So they've canonically made him a trans man cat boy in the Tom and Jerry gotcha game in China. What wins?
what? I'm looking at this and I'm like,
Trans rights.
the fuck?
Ally.
Siffy has arrived. Uh-oh. That's probably the character.
Oh, so many.
Oh god.
Anyway, it's just I needed somebody else to see it because it's deeply surreal. I'm like, there is no intense Tom and Jerry American fandom. We have not like had a crucial Tom and Jerry moment in a hot minute. So like seeing people make new anime inspired, very like a lot of it's like very Chinese cultural outfits. Like I don't understand this e-girl one. I don't like what why do they have like such alluring eyelids half the time? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, really like
yeah,
anyway,
that's
I just needed someone else to see that, and I'm dying that when you first clicked it said 404, and I'm like, nobody believes me that it's real. I'm like, I swear to God.
this is deeply, deeply weird.
It feels like something you'd see in a dream. Speaking of seeing things in a dream, I have a song stuck in my head from a TikTok, and I was writing about it before we came on, but somebody ordered, and there's a food TikTok where a girl orders the biggest croissant in Malaysia, and it comes to her table and it's a huge croissant, and she takes a bite out of it. Very cute basic content. Somebody responds to it and it says, this is a fine TikTok. But when I saw it, I had a dream that Billy Joel had a hit song that he's always had called "The Biggest Croissant in Malaysia," and then he played it, and I have that stuck in my head, and it's like, she ordered the biggest croissant in Malaysia. So stupid. It's stuck in my head so bad.
I mean, that sounds like something more like Elton John would write,
I'm not singing it good. He does it so good, but it's so stuck in my head. And it's like an 11-second long song. It's like, she ordered the biggest croissant in Malaysia. She ordered the biggest croissant in town because Daddy's not around anymore. He's in Singapore. And I was just like, it's so stupid.
Is it like, did he do it like the Piano Man?
No. It's so stuck in my head.
And he's not around anymore. Do 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 do.
I love it when people really commit and really sing it. You know what I mean? If don't be just really commit to the bit. It's always good.
Yeah, you gotta Weird Al it. You got Weird Al is always all in on whatever the bit is.
He's leaving it all on the dance floor. You're getting. I love him so much.
Oh man, I had a horrible moment this morning.
Oh no.
That had to do with tangentially with Weird Al.
Okay.
So I had to move my car because parking laws, and Riding Dirty comes on. The original by Chameleon Air. They see me rolling, they hating, they always trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty, trying to catch me riding dirty. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll listen to this.
Yeah.
And as I'm parking, the song ends and the DJ comes on. It's like, yeah, and that's another song from for our throwback hour.
Ooh.
And I was like,
ooh.
That shit was unnecessary. You didn't need to tell me that. Fuck you.
It's a low blow.
Yeah, it's a low blow. 2004 wasn't that long ago.
It's not that long ago.
I couldn't believe it because I was like, this is oldies now.
Yeah. Okay.
By the time this came out, shit that I grew up with was oldies. Holy shit.
Right. Whatever.
Yeah.
I love. What was the Weird Al video that I always really liked? I think it was even a Vine. It was back in the day. But he just looked out his window and there was a bunch of power lines and there were birds sitting on them, and he played the piano as if they were notes on. And it was just I like his brain so much. That's such a cool thing to think up, and I don't know. Anyway, but how are you? How have you been?
I've been okay. Going through the second draft of Babylon, which is very cool.
I'm so happy you finished your first draft.
Yeah, it's
so great.
The thing that hurts is going through it, and it hurts. Because in the words of Neil Gaiman, the art of the second draft is the art of making it look like you knew what you were doing the whole time.
Right.
And it's only now. It's the second draft, so it's only now that some of the better ideas are happening.
Right.
The better takes on the things that have been put down are happening. And it's like, thank you, brain. You couldn't have fucking saved me months of work by doing that earlier.
Right.
And of course the brain's like, no.
Well, I mean, you're making up something new that I think about that a lot of times, when I see other people and they're putting out something really fast. Sometimes it's because okay, I'm learning to write prose. I've never written prose before. And if I was writing a comic, I would know exactly what to do. And like it's very intimidating for me. I keep like locking up. I feel really stupid. I feel like there's all these like rules that I don't know. And like, gosh, I keep losing my train of thought.
Well,
But like,
yeah. The flow of text works differently than the flow of images.
right, yeah. And I'm like, how much do you describe? How much is over describing? But like, um, I was reading this really good book. It's called like Writing the Craft by Janet Burroway, and it's apparently like the book that they teach in a lot of writing schools. So like I looked up like if you went to college for this, what books would you have to read? So I was like, I'll read
Right.
what I would have paid to read. And I like what she said because I'm like so intimidated about writing the first draft. And she said, writing the first draft isn't sculpting the sculpture; it's piling up the clay. And the
Mm-hmm.
second draft is when you can like start making it into what you want it to be. And that made me feel a lot better because I'm just like, okay, just plonk words down. Like,
Yeah. It's just
so like,
it's just getting it all out of your head and onto a page.
yeah, and it's just like it's a lot of stuff I've just never done before. And like, oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Like sometimes I get really intimidated because people are going really fast, and you and me are both trying to make something original.
Yeah.
And I was on looking on YouTube because like, you know, I am learning to do something entirely new as I'm making a new thing, which is like two different tasks. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
so like, and I was looking at this one girl and she's like, I wrote 40 books in 4 years. And I was like, whoa, how did you do that? And I'm like,
Oh
watching a
God,
video.
I bet they suck.
Well, that's what she was saying. She's like, they weren't all great. And she was saying like, she was seeing if she could make money. And she said like her biggest trick was they were all fantasy romance. So she would just pick a famous fairy tale and then rework it. And so she just went through every fairy tale she could think of and rework it into a fantasy romance novel with like, you know,
Ah.
kissing and stuff. And I was like, I'm like thinking about that, like, you know, you're making a TTRPG and
Mm-hmm.
it's all original stuff. And it's like if you were doing it based on like an existing IP or you know, an existing mythos, like Greek myth, that
Mm-hmm.
would be like a lot of shortcuts. Like that's why people keep using Greek myth right now. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, Greek myth is really cool, but it's also a built-in fandom. Everybody kind of knows the shorthand and
Yeah.
like gets it. You get it. You get it very quickly. So there's no like risk. You say what it is, and the audience is like, "I'm in," and it's or they're not. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that immediately is yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like
My brother calls it building the bridge to the weird.
yeah,
You know,
and
like if you
yeah,
do something like that, the theme or the oh God, what do you call it when the you're God, I'm like, what do you do? What do you call it when you do a thing and everyone knows you're doing the thing? It's not pretension. It's not premise is close. But anyway, when you know that, like, for example, your conceit,
okay, Yes, I
conceit,
know that word. Yeah,
when
yeah, yeah.
when people recognize the conceit you're using, it does a lot of heavy lifting for you. You
Yes.
know, because if you start doing Greek myths, someone's going to be like, oh, where's Medusa? Oh, where's Thor? Or not Thor, he's Norse, but like, you know,
Yeah.
where's Hera? Where's Aphrodite? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with these guys? You know, like
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So you don't have to explain too much who these people are. You can just kind of describe them and people will get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you're
For sure.
tapping into an established metaphor.
Yeah.
But when you're doing something else, man, have you got to pick your battles.
Yeah. And it's
You
like,
know,
you know, we have both of us have cultural touchstones, like monsters people recognize. My
Mhm.
stuff has vampires. People know what vampires are, witches. People know what witches
Yeah.
are. So it's like people can still have handholds, but again, it's like, well, I'm trying to make up a whole fake religion and like the culture of this island and like this and that. It's like that's a lot of thinking. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so but I think it's really really good that you finished your first draft. I think that's awesome. I don't know anybody who's made a
Oh,
TTRPG.
thank you.
Like that's so fucking cool. Like sorry.
It's
Like,
I don't know what to say. It was just one foot in front of the other until that first draft was done.
yeah, that's how I feel with like the CNU. People were like, "How did you do that when you were so sick?" I was like, "Well, I would just make a panel and then another
Panel,
just,
yeah.
And eventually there's most of a book, and you're like, you might as well finish it. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's like one of the first times I really understood that line from Akira Kurosawa's Dreams when he's talking to Van Gogh, and Van Gogh
Mhm.
goes, and then when I'm finished, I step back, and it is like the painting is completed for me. And I was like, how? And
Mhm.
now I'm sort of like, oh,
Yeah.
you're
I
just so involved in the process, and
yeah.
then when you step back, you're like, oh, I guess it's done.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Because
you
you're like
know,
right here, right here, right here, and then it's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, yeah.
yeah. I guess I'm
And
finished now.
yeah. For me, my inspiration was much goofier. I would often sing to myself the song from Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Put one foot in front of the
Other. Oh
other. Yeah, yeah.
God.
I would sing that to myself when I was really sick and I didn't want to finish my book. It
One
worked.
of the things that I think is so fucked up about Santa Claus is coming to town is they skip over almost everything that's interesting.
That's true.
You're just sort of like, oh, and so like the reindeer just fly now because we had magic seeds.
Did you ever
That's
watch?
it.
Did you
Like,
ever?
God damn it.
And like knowing what you know now, it's like, oh, they were probably in a huge rush and had like no
Yeah, they
time
were
to
like, we have no idea what to do. This is an extra 10 minutes that we don't have.
don't have. We're almost out of bits of wood.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
So,
like,
yeah, that's magic seeds make them fly. Okay, great, done.
uh,
Move on to the next thing.
have you seen the very bad? I never even watched the cartoon, but like the riff tracks had the riff of the Avatar: The Last Airbender movie. Have you ever seen it?
Ugh.
It's so bad. And
I saw 10 minutes of it and I was like, I'm done. I'm out.
there's the worst, the part,
I
the
started
moment, and
feeling that was a movie where I started to not feel bad about not finishing a movie.
yeah, and that's rare for me because like I'm like, I worked hard on this. I'll watch the whole
Yeah,
thing.
someone worked hard on this, but like sometimes it's like this is only gonna take time away from me,
And
like
I like Shyamalan. What happened? Anyway, but like, so there's a part in the movie where they get off of Appa, the big cool thing, and they go, and literally the main boy, Aang Ong, says, wow, that battle at sea was amazing. And they're like, yeah, those sea pirates, that was really scary. Anyway, let's go to this dirt town or whatever. And I was like, what do you mean you had a sea pirate battle that we didn't
didn't
see, and now you're gonna,
see like
and then
that.
they just go, they go talk to people about rocks for like 20 minutes. It was so bad.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you could have showed us all that cool shit, but
And it's like, this is an
nah.
expensive movie. So I don't know. I don't know what happened with that.
Well, like
Anyway,
I have opinions on Shyamalan. Like every
he's very
once
full of
in
himself.
a oh yeah. Like I'm of the opinion that there are really only 3 good Shyamalan movies.
Yeah.
Unbreakable,
Yeah.
Split, and Glass.
You don't like the Sixth Sense?
I
The
knew
the
what
one
was happening in The Sixth Sense in the first 5 minutes.
that's fair.
I
And I had
predicted the entire movie in the first
that
5 minutes.
that's very fair. I find I already, because culturally, by the time I was watching it as like a teenager, I already, it was so parodied so much that like you know what's gonna happen anyway. But like there's a couple moments in that movie that I found like so legitimately creepy, and like um just the way it looks is nice, especially compared to modern movies. It just is. It's shot nicely. It looks nice.
Oh
It looks
yeah,
like
his
a
movies always look good,
that, you know what I mean? Like, and like it's it's not but yeah, I guess it does project very quick. It's pretty obvious
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
happening.
like basically it came down to this. Like we're watching this film, I turned to the person who I knew had seen it, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, so Bruce Willis is a ghost, isn't he? And he's like,
Yeah.
how did you know? And I'm like, it was obvious. It was
I
obvious from the get-go.
the stuff that like got to me like was just when he was walking around and would see a ghost just standing in the distance staring at him. Things like that in Jacob's Ladder too. Just with like you would notice somebody far away
Yeah.
that was off.
I actually
And
thought a movie that did it way better was Stir of Echoes.
I haven't seen Stir of Echoes.
Stir of Echoes is good. Stir of Echoes is legitimately just really good.
Okay, I'm trying to like.
It got really overshadowed by The Sixth Sense, but
Okay.
in my opinion, it's a way better movie.
Literally adding it to my phone right now.
I mean, it
will
doesn't
see it.
hurt that it's a Richard Matheson story.
Oh, I love him. I just got into him recently.
Yeah, Richard Matheson's great.
Richard Matheson. Did he do A Whistle and I'll Come to You, My Lad?
I believe so.
I love that.
Yeah.
So
he's also the guy that wrote Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Oh,
which
okay.
the thing that unfortunately the thing that's so great about Kolchak the Night Stalker is the reveal.
Okay.
The reveal of the killer, because everyone knows now, like, he's stalking a vampire. But when that thing first fucking came out, that was one of those, what the fuck? It's a vampire.
Yes. Okay. He did I Am Legend and Hell House. Okay. I was mixing him up with a British guy. I love him too, though. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Richard Matheson's American, you know.
Although there's a couple parts in Hell House that made me laugh super hard because they're very dated, but not in a super.
Yeah, you're talking about the one with Roddy McDowell, right?
The Hell House book with Richard Matheson is like a bunch of people go in there and they're gonna prove the existence of ghosts with like a machine, and then the ghosts are like fucking with them. And but like there's parts in the book where like they get like super duper shocked by things in the house, and like one of the things in the house is like a room that has like a crucifix with a boner and like orgy paintings.
Yeah. That was adapted into a film starring Roddy McDowell.
Okay.
It's really, I forget what it was called. It's not just called Hell House. I think it's called Return to Hell House.
Okay.
No, that's a book by Nancy Ann Collins. Hold on, let me get a film.
I'm gonna definitely watch Stir of Echoes. Then.
Stir of Echoes is really good. It stars Kevin Bacon. Let's see. Okay. Roddy McDowell. The Legend of Hell House. That's it. The Legend of Hell House.
Yes. Okay, I know that. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Where he like exorcises the ghost by making fun of his height.
Yeah, he's like, You're a short little man.
You weren't even 5 foot tall. You know, I love that movie, even though it's so redonkulous.
Why do so many ghosts and supernatural things end with like bullying the ghost back to hell?
Because it's trying to get you. It's trying to scare you.
Yeah.
You know, because it's trying to scare you, and like at some point you're just gonna be like, you know what? All right, I'm done fucking around. You know.
Yeah.
Being afraid ain't going nowhere. Now I'm angry.
Yeah. There was did you so I when I was like Christian growing up, I really liked C.S. Lewis, and I really liked the Narnia books, but then I read his other stuff, and there was one called the Screw Tape Letters. And
the Screw Tape Letters.
Yeah, written from the point of view of a demon writing to his nephew, who is also a demon. And like one of the things that like it said in the book essentially was like, if you can't cast a demon out with scripture or prayer, just make fun of them and they'll get really pissed off and go home. And I was like, I always thought that was kind of a fun way to rebuke evil, is just like, what the.
Well, that's like that's my whole modus operandi, you know.
Yeah.
Like it comes down to like that bit that one YouTuber did. Why ghosts don't haunt Asian people, you know, where it's just sort of like, you work one day a year, you not even show up. I buy the Halloween decoration. I did not want to say this, but you smell so bad. You know, because like in Asia, particularly like China, there's like a long history of the way you get a spirit to leave is by annoying it.
That's funny.
You know,
Why? I want to know why in the Philippines it seems like they have a different relationship with
they
ghosts.
do. They
Like
do.
they leave out Fanta for the ghosts because they used to leave out blood, and then everybody was like, "That's not sanitary." So now they leave out pink Fanta for ghosts a lot of times.
Yeah,
It's like, and I'm like, and it seems more like they're part of the ecosystem.
they are.
Sorry, hang on.
They-
I'm gonna try and make my dog stop barking. Hang on. I'm sorry. I didn't realize he was doing that with my headphones on. But yeah, hang on 1 second. Put a pin in the
Okay,
Fanta ghost.
okay. Put a pin in Fanta Ghost. Got it. However, that does bring up something important.
Brody. Brody, settle down, honey.
Oh, come on, just play the damn thing. There we go.
Pintar al sol es muy aburrido, ahora será más divertido. El más de tu sed, ¿te gusta el sabor? Naranja en tu boca, no hay nada mejor. ¿Quieres?
I know. If it was ICP, if you had to summon ICP, it'd be Fago. You have to summon him with Fago.
Everybody ready? Comic books and rubber bands, climb into the treetop, falling down and holding hands, tricycles and red hot, pony rides and Sunday nights, roller skates.
It's not a very good jingle, I think. Fago had a shit jingle.
All right, just settle down though, okay? Can you settle down? Settle down. All right, everybody chill.
Yeah, man. I was looking up the Fanta took me to Fago, so I looked up the Fago jingle.
Okay.
It sucks.
Oh,
You know, you're like, oh, that's not good.
No.
That's bad. But yeah. In a lot of Asian cultures, like the supernatural is just part of the world.
okay.
You know, it's just an
It's not so much
accepted-
like this is over here and like that's over there. It's like it's just kind of
Yeah, it's kind of everywhere.
Mix.
There are places where you can slip between the worlds, you know, for one reason or another.
I guess that's why you have like the essential like they have more of that like Spirited Away,
Yeah,
literally in the sense of the movie, but like from that. I mean, I read a lot of legends like don't go outside. You could just go and never come back.
yeah. It's they're a lot more like fairies.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, you could just slip into that world and never come back. You
Little
know,
brother. No. Yeah.
little brother, got the heart of
You
a
can make it.
champion.
He has the heart of a champion. Lay down. All right. Anyway, so they leave Fanta out because they used to leave out blood, and I guess the ghosts are just like happy to have something.
Well, sometimes they just want attention. You know,
I was gonna
like,
say I'd be like, you know what, I like Fanta more than blood. I mean, if I had to drink it. But
yeah. Well, that's the other thing. There's some really interesting like ritual substitutions that start to happen, particularly in island rituals, because you don't have as much access to stuff except the stuff
Right.
that the island naturally has. So if
Right,
you need
right, right.
something that's like a little rare and you're like, well, we don't got that. Well, we got to do something, you know, we got to sacrifice a chicken. And so someone goes to KFC,
Yeah.
you know, because you
Well,
can't
there you
find a live
go.
chicken. So
Yeah,
you're just
we'll
like, well,
have
hope
that
maybe this will
around.
do. All right.
Right.
You know?
And I guess a lot of times it does. It's like well, a chicken would have cost this much, and this tastes good, so it's like, really.
I remember there was this
So
one female rapper that everyone got mad at because
I
she
remember
was, yeah,
that.
she was a Santeria priestess. And
Yeah,
so she kills a lot of chickens.
I just feel like as long as long as she's doing it humanely, what does it matter? Especially if they eat. A lot of times they eat them
Yeah,
after
yeah, the
anyway.
chicken is usually
I
cooked,
I can't.
afterwards,
I
because
can't.
that's a waste. Yeah.
I eat chicken. I can't morally like somebody else killed it for me. That makes it better. I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like or she was killing it for a reason versus that guy was killing it for 8.50 an hour. Like what? It's like it shows you very much
Yeah.
that like a while ago I was trying to, when I feel a disgust response, just kind of sit in that feeling and not automatically assume that a disgust response is a moral response. Because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think humans mix that up a lot, which is like why I think a lot of people think gay is immoral. Because to them, they're not gay, so they're like, "Oh, I wouldn't enjoy that." So like they go, "That made me feel icky, so it must be bad." So like
Yep.
it's when something is like immediately you're like, "Whoa, she's killing chickens for magic." Why? You might want to be like, sorry, I'll be quiet anyway. But you might want
Yeah.
to be like,
As opposed to
right, as
fucking
opposed to
children are being paid pennies a day to mine quartz
right. It's
for
like
your fucking crystals,
right, and it's like, oh, because you can see it, it's gross. You don't normally get to see those people suffering or having a bad time, so your use of this, in your phone or whatever, your crystal quartz or whatever, while kids are mining them. So anyway, but yeah, I remember everybody was super mad at her, and I was just kind of like, they're just chickens. I don't like it's and also it's like it's very not Christian religion. And
Yeah,
like
it's not what the colonizer would do,
right, and it's
you
like
know.
how much of this repulsion response is very like white, you know what I mean? Like I like just I don't know. I don't want to kill any chickens. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I am, but watch me get canceled. Somebody's watching this and like, Jesse thinks it's okay to
Okay to
kill
kill
chickens
chickens,
for dark magic. I
Well,
just
gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
I like serious. You got sometimes.
I could see
But
myself out in the middle of fucking nowhere in a hut, someone like fucking coming up to me, and it's like, we need you to do something about this curse. I
yeah,
just be like, fine. Going out into the yard, getting a black rooster, just being like,
yeah, yeah. I know a couple curses. I did one on Trump.
good
I
one to
did a Sicilian.
curse. Good one to
Yeah,
curse. Yeah.
I did it for one on him right before the election. And he lost, so yay! A lot of witches were doing stuff. I did a Sicilian Strega curse, which is like you write the person's name you hate on a rock, and you concentrate like all your hatred into the rock, and then you say, "May you and all your endeavors sink like this stone," and then you cast it into the deepest water you have in the area. And there was like a big pit of water in my area, so I threw that down there. There's I think this one was originally Egyptian, but you can write the name of first name of the person you hate on your left foot, last name of the person you hate on your right foot, on your shoes. And when you walk, it's supposedly to like downtrodden them. And the other one I know is, oh yeah, you make a clay tablet with their name and then you shatter it. That's like a
Yeah,
big one. That was Egyptian too.
I would spend time uh concentrating and drawing symbols
Yeah,
on a piece of
sigils.
paper that I
Yeah.
would then burn,
Yeah, I
you
do.
know.
I do sigil craft. Usually, I do sigil craft for like specific intentions I want to happen. So, like for that, I'd be like, go to jail. And, like, but
Yeah, being
yeah,
specific helps. It
yeah.
for
Being
some
specific
reason,
helps.
it's like a genie's wish. You don't want to be vague, you
Yeah, I
know.
always think about that too. Like, you should be specific with your intention. And but yeah, I forget what we were talking about. Magic and curses and ghosts. Oh
Magic
my,
and curses and
I'm
ghosts. Yeah.
I'm so behind on horror movies. I haven't seen stop motion.
That one's
Somebody
real
was
good. I think
I want to see
I
that
think
so
you'll
bad.
identify with that one pretty well.
I know, especially like certain issues. And I'm an artist and everything. And I also just really love the medium of stop motion animation. If I like, I always laugh because like I'm always like, oh, what would I do if I wasn't doing this? And like all of the things I pick are always like not lucrative. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? It's like, what would you do if you weren't doing comics? I'm like, I'd really love to get into like puppets and stop motion animation. Oh, the money will roll it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Like people ask me what I want to do and they're like, that's not a very lucrative. And I'm like, you said what I wanted to do.
I
You didn't tell
know.
me. It's like, what would you do for money? And I'm like, not a lot. You
Right.
know, I tried really hard in my 30s to like build a career
Yeah.
and blah blah blah. And and then the days started where the offers were getting worse and
Yeah.
worse and worse for more work. And I'm like, you can't pay me half of what I just made to do twice the work,
Yeah, and that's
you
gonna happen
know?
more and more because of certain technology and like that's why it's like good to know what you really do love to do because it's like a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
times paths that we are taught are legitimate are going away. Like or they just
Oh yeah.
don't
Oh yeah.
work or you
Yeah.
get scammed. Like I've done books for like the biggest publishing houses in the world. I was illustrating for them. And I still had to chase them for 10 months on the phone to get paid for
Yep.
work that I'd turned in and the book was on shelves. And it's like that's as legitimate as you can get is internationally published with some of these houses. And I
Yeah.
still had to be like, please, 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 please.
Yeah.
And then you know the backstory of the thing I can't
Where's
talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, like a problem, but we're working on that. And then, like, even most recently, like a friend, I was hired as a subcontractor for a friend who was hired to do a book, and the book got canceled. And the people tried to get the money they paid me back for. I drew dozens of backgrounds, deeply detailed backgrounds, crowd scenes, wooden paneling, road cobblestones, like all this shit. And they were trying
Yeah,
to be like,
no,
well, the
you
book's
still
not.
have to pay me. Now that you've gone out of business, I
Yeah,
am no longer your vendor. I am
right.
now your creditor.
Yeah, and it's so it
You
is
know, that's the
for real,
way that
right?
works.
Anyway, so
Yeah, you now
yeah,
owe me money because you haven't given it to me yet, you know.
right. So like I'm trying to figure out what how can I make my dreams work, get paid without as many other people around as possible. And like I've had some good luck with crowdfunding and I'm gonna try. I mean, this is like once again, you still kind of have to rely on other people. Like, you know, you have to host your website somewhere. You have to
Right,
you have
right.
to you have to have a
The work has to
storefront
be
somewhere.
hosted somewhere. Yeah.
Right. But I'm trying to remove as many middlemen as possible. If I can do a task, I'm just gonna do it
Yes,
until I make enough
yes.
money that I can just hire someone to do it. I don't have to look at it anymore. But
Yeah.
like like when I did the crowdfund with Zoop and like that's finally moving forward. The art book's gonna come out. I'm so excited. It's looking so good. And but I did a crowdfund with them and they were great. They've been so helpful every step of the way. And like so that's been really good. And then like, you know, it's like every time I've directly sold things to my fans, it worked out way better than like trying to send something to a company that will hopefully publish it and then hopefully I'll get paid in 2 years. Like that's
Yeah.
a very rough way to try to
Yep.
construct your life. And then you still having to chase. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm trying I'm trying not to do that. So like but one thing I am
There
kind of
were a
intrigued.
lot of companies that people would work for just because they paid you on time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
those days are
Yeah.
almost over, you
Yeah.
know, like that almost doesn't happen,
Yeah.
which flabbergasted me, where I
I
was like,
know.
you like one of the things about, like, for example, like Wizards of the Coast used to always pay you on time.
All my
No
friends.
questions,
Oof,
always happened. You
yeah.
got you when they said the check will be there by this time, it got there.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
it was a
art was
big deal for them.
it's like you're selling paper, you know? You're
Yeah,
selling
you're selling little
words on
pieces of cardboard, you know?
cardboard, books, but it's like what is moving, what is like grabbing the mind is this art. And it's like you want to make sure that those people are happy because they're the ones who are making you money.
Yeah.
Like, would people still play it if it was just words on a card? Probably, but like
Maybe, but
maybe
not
like
as it wouldn't be the
1%.
phenomenon it
It wouldn't
is.
be a phenomenon. It would be a very niche thing that anyway, but like yeah, and the fact is they've made tons of money during the pandemic. They were like skyrocketing in sales. People were like getting in fights at Target and Walmart because they
Yeah.
sold yeah,
Yeah.
fist fights, grown ass men, and I'm like, yo, chill. I get it's fun, but calm down.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
But,
just I don't know if it's because I'm a cynical asshole, but like I'm just sort of like, oh no, don't stop on my account.
True, it's
You
always
know?
a little fun. It's a little-
It's like, well, as long as the guy's not like, like didn't lose a tooth and isn't like vomiting blood,
yeah, he's all right.
He's fine.
He's fine. All the cards are all bent. It's like this is the wages of wrath. Like,
Yeah. So it was really upsetting to me that that Wizards' reputation for like paying people well and on time has deteriorated. Because
Yeah,
I was
I mean-
like, but that was one of the things that made you one of the backbones of the industry.
I know.
That you would do that.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, like, do we really have to? What? Yes. Oh, quiet quitting. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to be real fucking honest. This whole idea of quiet quitting
Mhm.
goes, if you want to say it goes to prove that people don't want to work hard anymore, you have to agree and admit that if it exists, if that's true, it's across the fucking board.
Yeah.
Because you're telling me you couldn't even be bothered to fire somebody for not performing to spec.
Mhm.
Are you fucking kidding me? And everyone's like, oh, it's so hard to fire people these days. I'm like, no, it's not. It never has been. It's never been hard. Unless you were fucking someone over and then you get dragged into court.
Yeah.
Oh, but you can get dragged into court for anything. Yeah, but like, yeah, bro, but I'm going to tell you let's see, like, what is down here? Yeah, you did all that shit. You broke the fucking law. That's why you're getting slammed. Yeah.
I was some of the tangential, but some of the people online being like, aren't you upset if he could be arrested, anybody can? I'm like, yes, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That means the system is doing the right thing for once. We shouldn't have special people who can't go to jail. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
If they could do this to the president, they could do this to anybody. And I'm like,
Yeah,
motherfucker,
they
they do this to
They
anybody
do.
already. Like, what are you talking about? And that kind of goes to show where those people think like the status of whiteness is.
Yeah.
You
the depth of their stupidity and rage is like a scary combination. It's like you're so dumb and so angry and so hateful, and it's like kinetic energy or potential energy that's like just and you're like
Yeah.
like,
And and the thing is,
you can't talk them down because they're dumb.
It's all they've got.
Yeah.
It's all they've got. They've got nothing else. They have nothing but that and potentially violence. And the problem with the potentially violence is a lot of them are actually pussies.
Yes, yeah. It's so much cowardice. Like I was telling somebody that like my least favorite thing about evil people, besides the great deal of harm they cause, is they're incredibly dull. They're so boring. They're never funny. Like I've had people like come at me hatefully, and I'm like, come on, I got shit to make fun of. riff on me. Come on, man.
Yeah,
And
do
you're
something.
just
Come
and
on.
you're just,
You
and I'm
know?
like, come on. And it's just wimpy, missed shots. You're like holding their head back like a bully in a bad cartoon, and they're just swinging their arms, and you're just like, it's not even fun because they're that like
Yeah.
bad
You
at
just kind
it.
of feel bad because you feel like you're picking on an
You're
invalid.
picking on it, like, and you're like, but they're the one coming at you, and it's just like
Yeah.
they're so, and it's like it's kind of funny because like as a horror writer, evil in fiction is fascinating, and it always has like this like it can have pathos, or it could be like the point of it is that evil is stupid and like hollow, and you
Hmm.
just like you get this feeling at the end, like Blue Ruin, not Blue Ruin. What was the Revenge? Was it Blue Ruin? Revenge movie?
That was
Anyway,
Blue
the one
Ruin. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, oh, you just feel this like hollow pit in your gut of like how empty evil is. But in real life, evil is so fucking doofy and annoying. Like, okay, Son of Sam, for example, right?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
scary. Oh, he had a dog telling him demon shit. Except you find out in real life, he was a Dorcas who would drink milk and listen to the album from like Love Means Never Having to Say You're Sorry, like la 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 la. And he like slept on a mattress on the floor. And like, okay, one of my favorite things about this guy, he would so like he kept tracking victims, and the cops couldn't figure out what his like modus operandi was, like how he was picking victims. Like at first they were like, oh, because a couple women he killed had ponytails, and they were like, he likes women with long hair, hide your hair. And then they were like, oh, he hates disco, he's killing people at discotheques. No. So he said how he picked his victims is he would drive around the city until he could find parking. And if he could find parking, he would get out and kill someone. And if he couldn't, he would go home. And I'm like, this,
Yeah. Like, that's it.
this, you died for this? Like, it's just, I hate him so much.
Yeah. A lot of serial murders are just predators of
gross.
opportunity.
Opportunity. It's just there's no clever, there's no mastermind. Like a lot of times when they get away with it, it's because the cops are just as racist and homophobic or hate the sex workers
Mhm.
too. Like fucking Robert Pickton. Did you see? All right, this is my
Yeah.
one malicious laugh this week. I hate Robert Pickton. He's such an evil fucking bastard. He admitted to killing 50 sex workers. The cops in the area kept letting it happen, and he got stabbed in the head with a broom handle this week. And I'm just like, of all the people who could get stabbed in the head with a broom handle, I'm glad it was you.
Well, yeah, that's why they gotta keep those guys away from like general
Yeah.
population, because one of those dudes like is I don't know how to put it, a killer for real.
Right.
You
Like
know?
he preyed on weak people that like he
Yeah.
had the opportunity to hurt. But there's people in there that are like, I killed for the mafia because I was big. And you're like,
Yeah.
you're in jail with that guy.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not fucking with that dude. You're fucking
Yeah.
kidding me. Like the Iceman, I'm not, no, you
Yeah.
don't fuck with that guy. You
So
know, a guy
scary.
who was sort of like, yeah, I never really knew I was gonna kill somebody until the moment struck. You're
He
just
was-
like, oh my,
I-
okay, oh my
I don't-
god.
I don't know why we watched a documentary about him in high school. It was like a sociology class, and like I think we were learning about like different ways of thinking, and like, but like the way he was just like so not sorry was like, and
Yeah.
like the things that he would do, like the way he killed people was so. It was even scarier than
It was super brutal. Yeah.
it was scarier than like No Country for Old Men. Like in that they just poof and then you're dead, which is very scary in its own way. But he would get people, put them in like a noose, and then hang them over his giant back. And he was so
Yeah.
big that he'd hang them.
Yep. And
Sorry.
sometimes,
We're
and there were
talking about
he poisoned people, he stabbed them. He had this one guy that he's
Yeah.
look, it took me like 3 hours to kill this guy. You know, I poisoned him, I
I'd be like,
stabbed
"Get
him,
on
I
with it."
shot him, I tried to twist his head off, that didn't work. And then finally he just bled out.
Oh,
That
I
was
like it.
probably, he was like, that was probably the least satisfying fucking hit I ever did, you know? Because like he felt he had failed because it took him 3 hours.
I was like, you're
I
just
was
doing
like,
a sloppy.
what?
It's like you're doing a sloppy job. You're doing a wedding cake, and like the tears are all like tilty, and like you.
Yeah,
fondant-
you're just
the
like,
fondant
I don't
is
feel
dead.
good about this one. You know?
Like, yeah, you did it, but like you're not proud. Like, it's terrible. I'm sorry to all the victims for real. But
You know,
but yeah, but like it's kind of funny because again, when you watch him, you're like, it's kind of fascinating because it's like he got away with it. He was so strong, he was so scary. But then there's nothing. They're like smart, but there's nothing. There's such a hollow like behind.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
they
yeah,
don't. There's nothing
yeah,
they really enjoy. There's like they brutality is like their main function.
yeah. It's their
And
thing.
yeah, it's their thing, and
You
it's
know, it's
anyway. Yeah,
bizarre.
yeah. But like, I don't know what my point
Oh,
was,
thank you for
but
the
yeah.
donation, Flashman. Let's get a Hail Satan for Flashman. Hail Satan.
Satan. Hail Satan. But yeah, I haven't seen like a bunch of. I was really behind on horror movies. That was what I was saying way before. I really want to see stop motion. I really love stop motion animation. I love Mad God. That was really
That
great.
was really cool. Yeah.
That made me feel like a sense of awe, like as a
Yeah.
craftsman.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, it also has a very awe-inspiring like scope to it, but like just the purity of committing to your vision for so long and like not stopping is really cool. Like I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
And the funny thing is, I look at that movie and I was like, oh, this is Phil Tippett talking about what it's like to be Phil Tippett.
Yeah, you could definitely see
Yeah,
that.
you
of,
can
like,
you can
this
tell.
pointless like
Yeah, it's like I do all this stop motion shit. Nobody really cares about stop motion anymore. And I
right.
do other things, but I don't really give a shit about it like I did
Yeah.
about like Go Motion and things. But I keep doing it, but no one's watching. Why am I doing this? But I keep doing it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really hits too when you're really sad. Like you can like it when you're really down, it like does feel like the whole universe is just this like crazy mechanism that makes suffering. Like it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
and like it's very it's kind of funny because it's like I was explaining to somebody how it like had hit me at the time I watched it, and I was like it was very poignant to me, and like how like I was getting this or that out of it, and like the very beautiful like stop motion animation and the scope of the scenery, and how I was very inspired that like he was able to finish it with some people's help towards the end, and like with the crowdfunding. And somebody was like, should I watch it? I'm like, there's a lot of shitting and barfing and
Yeah, that's how you know it's
and
Phil Tippett, you know.
and goo and people made of hair that just burn up. I don't know if I like. Do you know what I mean? It's very hard to recommend some movies. It's like I really liked Skinamarink. I also thought it was too long, and I totally get people who hate it. And when people are like, "Would you recommend watching it?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. It's very dull."
This is a movie for
Like,
this is a movie who are in this is a movie that is for people who are into experimental film.
yes, it's
You
like
know.
if you're into having an experience that happens to be on a screen that doesn't really fit in the normal 3-act structure, and you don't mind looking at static for about 80 minutes, woohoo! Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't, and I don't, so I was getting into it, but like,
Yeah.
you know, so
Oh,
like,
I was explaining who Phil Tippett was to somebody. And I was
yeah,
like, okay, have you ever watched a movie where a puppet grotesquely eats another puppet?
yes,
And they're like, yeah, okay, that's how you know Phil Tippett. That was Phil Tippett.
yes,
And they're like, what are you talking? What? And I'm like, yeah, every time in
every
Star
time.
Wars
Legend. He's a
that
legend.
happened, that's the mark of, okay, Phil Tippett's on the production.
Yeah.
I think one of the few like science fiction movies he didn't do that was Jurassic Park, actually.
Yes, I think Ray Harryhausen also was consulting on Jurassic Park because was it him or Phil who was
No,
Steven Spielberg?
it was Phil. It was Phil Tippett.
Okay, it was Phil. Okay, because I know that like he had been doing all of the like model work and stuff, and then those tech guys came in and they did the demo with the CGI stuff, and Steven turned to him and said, "Oh, you're out of a job." And it was a joke, but like it wasn't a joke. And
I think, he's like, I think I'm out of a job. And Steven
right.
Spielberg went, don't you mean
It's like,
extinct?
yeah, yes, that was the joke. Yeah. And like that's how I kind of feel sometimes with, you know, the current landscape of things is like I'm like, am I Phil Tippett? Oh fuck. Like that's how I
It's
do.
it oh it's
Like,
it's always rough to
Yeah.
get somewhere and then feel like you're the ruler of a dead city.
Yeah,
You
and it's also
know,
really funny because like women haven't been allowed to be artists for that long, so it's kind of like, did I become a woman artist
Ooh.
at the exact moment in history that it doesn't fucking matter anymore?
Yeah,
Five decades of a chance, and that's it. You're done. Fuck off.
yeah, actually, well, when it comes to comics, one of the things that actually like annoys the shit out of me is women have always been involved in comics.
Yeah,
Like there has never been a point where they have not been. It's just that you didn't know it.
yeah. A lot of them
You
had
know,
pen names. A lot of them were like
a lot of mad pet
uncredited.
names,
Yeah,
uncredited,
yeah,
shit like that.
yeah,
And it's upsetting. Like
yeah.
and like how to put it, the story of Bill Finger is upsetting,
hmm
but that would just happen to women in the industry as a matter of course. Where it was like, oh, I did this thing that's now really important. I got no money, no recognition, and someone stole all the credit.
Yeah,
Like,
there's so many stories like that.
yeah, there are
But
tons of stories like that.
I'm trying not to fall into despair about it. Is my main
Well,
thing. I just like there's nothing
I
I
wanted to
can.
ask you if you're familiar with Gilbert Hernandez.
The artist he did Love and
Love and
Rockets.
Rockets. Yeah, he did
Yeah.
Love and Rockets with his brother Jamie or Jaime.
Mhm.
I've only ever seen his name written. I've never heard it actually
I
spoken.
don't know how it's pronounced either. I would assume Jaime because Jaime Hernandez. Maybe?
Jaime Hernandez. Yeah. So
Let's just assume.
yeah, we'll
So,
assume Jaime,
okay.
Yeah. I no, you should check him out because one of the things that's really interesting about him, I was discussing this the other day. Um like me, he has a fondness for big boobs.
Yeah.
Um But the thing that's interesting about him is that a woman will just have big tits,
Yeah.
which sounds really weird to go like, that's actually kind of novel.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You
Well, he
know,
like from the art I've seen, he has like the way he draws bodies, they have weight to them. So like when he has a skinny lady with big tits, it looks kind of like they're heavy. I
yeah.
don't know. Like he draws thoughtfully is what I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's interesting about him.
He obviously has his he has his style, but the thing that's always just so impressive about it is they always feel real.
Yeah, they
Eh,
feel very like human beings. They're like
Yeah.
when they make mistakes, they're not just like all of a sudden they're a villain who everybody hates. Now it's like, oh, they did something shitty. Also, they're my neighbor and they're your cousin, and like from the couple books I've read.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it was
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
interesting
He
like that.
does that
Like,
a lot. And
yeah,
one of the
I've only read like I was at the library and they had like two slim volumes, and I was just like, this is good. Like that was all I got to read.
yeah. They have
Yeah.
like large collections of them.
Okay.
So like you can if you want like, you know, 50 issues of Love and
I was
Rockets,
gonna say you
can
could
get
get
like
lost in
yeah.
yeah.
You can just you well, I mean, you can go to a comic book store and just like get an omnibus.
Mm-hmm. Like
Oh
the
yeah,
list of X-Men.
he's definitely a man of culture.
Yeah. I
And
also like big boobs. There was a woman on TikTok and she was saying all these deep, heavy things, but also she had such big boobs. They were taking up like 3/4 of the screen. And I was like, I am not a dirtbag pansexual. I am focusing on your human words. I was trying really hard.
I have learned to do both.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
learned to do both.
she
For
was very pretty.
some, actually, I don't know what it was. I don't know why it was this. But the secret to me was realizing on a deep level, emotional level, accepting, yeah, women are flawed too, and sometimes they're just stupid.
Sure, yeah. For sure.
Like, and it was a revelation because it was that realization of like, oh, I haven't kind of put this on a pedestal, haven't I?
Mhm.
Well, that's dumb because I'm agreeing
Yeah.
with things I shouldn't agree with just
Sure, yeah.
because, it's a woman and that's not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's not good. if a guy was saying it, I'd be pissed.
Right, yeah.
You know, I'd be very angry. So for some reason, it was a Simpsons line that put it all in perspective. It was the one where, for some reason, they have decided to put the Simpsons through this, like, ringer. Oh, because they accidentally kill this animal called a screamapillar. And then and then they're gonna drop them into a volcano, but it turns out the volcano's just filled with orange juice, you know, and like, but they're in Japan, and Homer's like, "Why does it burn?" And he goes, "It's chock full of wasabi." But Carmen Electra comes out, you know, and it turns out that the evil old guy was really me, Carmen Electra. And Homer is just like looking right at her chest. And he goes like, "I am so mad at you right now, Carmen Electra." And she goes, "Homer, my eyes are up here." And Homer just goes, "I've made my choice." Yeah.
You know what? That's fair.
And I was like, I don't know why, but that moment put a lot of things in perspective for me.
Sure.
You know, because yeah, I was expecting like superhuman things out of women, and that was just that was not fair.
Yeah,
That wasn't
you're
just
being way
that.
more
Yeah, that's
compassionate.
unfair to them,
Yeah.
and it's unfair to me.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of people, some people accused me of white knighting during Gamergate, and I'm like, oh no.
No.
If I'm
Also,
white
that's
if
such a
I'm white
stupid
knighting
mess.
somebody, I know them.
Yeah.
I know them and have opinions about them, very solid opinions. But don't get it twisted. If some woman if I beat you because like some woman I barely know
Yeah.
said that you were being a creep, know
Yeah.
that about half of that is because she said that, but the other half of it is sometimes I just like punching people. So you can't white knight at me. It's not going to matter.
Sure.
If I have picked my target, it's happening. It's going down. I'm not saying I'll win. I am saying there will be a fight.
Well, it was also very annoying because, like, the idea that, like, the annoying thing about when people call someone a white knight a lot of times is like, on the one, it's not that bad to be a knight.
No, it's not.
Someone.
It's not bad.
And the other thing is, like, they assume you're doing that either for attention or because you hope the girl will like you. And I'm like, that is such a crummy way of thinking about the human race and, like, how to engage with humans in general. And it kind of shows you how they frame everything is, like, the only reason you would
it's
be nice,
very transactional.
It's like the only reason you would be nice is because you're hoping to get something out of it. It's like sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
quick. Let's pick the one thing that is probably going to be there somewhere.
Yeah.
And make that the whole thing simply to make someone feel bad.
Right. And it's like, also, it's not a like sorry, like so much of the way like a lot of male and female interaction is framed is so gross.
It's awful. It's awful.
And it makes me really sad. Like I hate hearing men call themselves like, oh, I'm a 2 out of 10. I'm a 6. I'm like at most a 6 out of 10. I'm like, stop giving yourself ratings like that. You're not a
It doesn't.
You're not a thing to be graded. You're a human being experiencing the universe. You deserve happiness. Stop it. Like I just like it's
you deserve to know who you really are.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, yeah, and like or like okay. Sometimes I like dressing sexy and I don't mind men looking. That's fine. It's like sometimes it's fine to look. And it's like everything being framed as like this is always bad. You're being bad to me. Like you're my enemy. I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought,
when it comes to when it comes to like whether it's all right to look at an attractive woman, here's what I noticed, which is I was always like, okay, The minute
Wow.
you turn this around
Yeah.
and make the woman in the equation the bad guy for
Yes.
any reason, I don't care anymore. Like,
Yeah.
for example, when they tried to come up with that idea of, what was it, self-exploitation, I was like, all right, we're stopping right here,
Mhm.
because you're now telling me that she's just doing that because she's either not educated enough
Right.
or is a bad person trying to get men to do bad things. That is the exact argument from the other side.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yes.
you. That's
Yeah.
not acceptable.
It's not cool.
Yeah, it's not cool. Like, and I was like, how about this? How about a woman in a dress never deserves to be raped? I mean, like,
Yeah.
why is that so difficult?
Yeah.
You know? And then when
Yeah.
people were like, I mean, look, I'm going to just say it. No means no went a long way
Yeah.
with me. That answered a lot of questions.
Yeah.
It
Let's all be clear.
Yeah, it's very clear. It does a lot of heavy lifting, you know,
Yeah.
and it's something you could actually build around. Whereas when
Yeah.
for some reason a bunch of people who called themselves feminists started going against no means no, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That is terrible. That's really, really bad.
Yeah, there's like a really big strain of sex negativity in modern
Oh,
feminism, and
yeah.
it's like a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
bummer because like I love sexy media. I like okay, what's that game that everybody was talking about with the girl with the really high ponytail and she basically looks naked and her boobs are way out and what's her name? The something Blade, Stellar Blade. Everybody was talking about it. Okay, I think it was called Stellar Blade.
Okay,
And
yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
okay, well, the main character is a very sexy woman with a high ponytail, and her outfit looks basically like she's naked and she's all wet. And every part of the game that people were showing were just the
Jiggle physics. Yeah,
jiggle
yeah.
physics. Not the jizz physics. That's a different game. Anyway, but the jiggle physics, and like people were laughing at it because it was just very horny. And like whatever, it's fine. It's fun to be horny, but like people were thinking like woke people wanted it to not be horny, and I was like, I think it's fine. What I thought was bad was that she looked really blank, like her face looked like,
Yeah. She
and
had
I'm just like, that's not sexy to me.
She
I wanna know
looks,
what this
yeah.
is.
She
I
looks
wanna
like
know what
PlayStation
that
2
is.
graphics. Come
Right,
on.
it's like she's like her body's amazing, and then it would cut to her face, and she's like, and I'm like, I hate that. Is she okay? Like, I don't feel
She's
like
got the
it's like,
palsy. Like,
right, I'm scanning up her body like sexy, gets to her face. I'm like, oh,
yeah, like one of those old cartoons.
yeah, wah, wah. Like it's like you just want to like ask her if she's lost. Like you're just like she's all wet. And you're like,
Yeah.
maybe she doesn't know she's outside. Like it just kind of gives you a funny vibe. And so like anyway, so like or like but anyway, people were like, I'm sure some people were like, she should be covered up, and I'm like, those people are boring.
Yeah. I already don't listen to those people. You know?
Right. It's like, or like, I like when sword and sorcery fantasy is sexy. I like
Yes.
the boobs out. I like the men horny too. I like that shit. And when people are like, oh, this shouldn't have. We're modern now. We shouldn't have that.
Hang
in
on.
there.
There's something going
sure.
on. What's
Yeah.
up? Oh, that is a drywall cutter.
Okay, it's covered in rust. Do we need to keep it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, or replace it.
Okay.
Like, we will conceivably need that in the near future.
Okay, so keep it for now, but get a better one.
Yeah. I mean, I could also, like, de-rust it, so.
Okay, I'll keep it.
Yeah. I forgot. They're going through, we have to go through the, we don't have a garage. We have a carriageway.
Okay.
So we have to, which functions as the garage. So we have to clear some of it out because someone's having the people upstairs are having a mattress delivered, and they can't get it through the front door, so they're going to use the back door. And I'm sort of like, who did you get to do this?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
like, they hired someone on TaskRabbit. So there's a part of me going like,
Oh,
okay, well, we're going to keep up our end, definitely. But
yeah.
I am expecting bad things.
I hate moving mattresses. I've so
Oh,
many
it's
kids.
awful. It's awful.
Every time they fall back on you and they're way heavier than you think they're gonna be, and your back goes it's like, I hate it. I've had to get them over balconies, like strapped to cars, and it's windy, and they're like blowing your car like a sail, like if you're in a bad Charlie Chaplin movie. And anyway, but yeah. Anyway, I hope the mattress thing goes okay. But oh
Yeah.
yeah, what was I saying? Sexy fantasy. Like
Sexy
people are like,
fantasy.
oh,
Yeah.
we'll remake this and we'll make it more feminist. We'll remove all the sexy stuff. And I'm like, what? I don't feel that
Yeah.
way. Like,
Yeah.
just make some of them gay. Like I'm just like,
Yeah. Like I was. Yes.
mhm.
Yes. Like
Like I'm a grown up.
that's.
I like grown up fun.
Yeah. There's something. There is this weird thing that happens with people.
Yeah.
Where you ever notice that for some reason the sex is always the problem?
Yeah. Like I was trying to explain to somebody, I was like, there was like a feminist thread on Reddit or something, and I was getting very heated because somebody was saying that it made them mad that their male friends would admitted that they sometimes sexually fantasized about them. And I was like, you're mad that your friend has thoughts in his head? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's
Like
none of your
my thing would have been like, why did you tell me that?
well, they asked.
Oh,
Like, I'm like,
well
why
then
did
that's
you
your
ask?
fault.
Right. I'm like,
You
it's
know?
like asking if you look fat in this dress. Like, do you want a real answer? Or do you like I'm like, sometimes, yeah. Like, so like, but anyway, and so many people were like appalled, and I'm just like, okay, so like I was trying to explain, and some people, I think I uploaded some, so but I was like, I was trying to say like, why does everyone think that wanting to experience pleasure with someone automatically means I don't respect your humanity or your intelligence or want you to have a good time? I'm like,
Yeah, but
I'm not
because we're indoctrinated with that idea.
right. I'm like, if someone is disrespecting me, they're not going to disrespect me more or less because they want to bone me. It's kind of just there also.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
they
it was
do,
already there. You
right, it's
know,
like, right, it's like, and
motherfucker
obviously Ken,
probably knew that within 5 seconds of meeting me. You know,
right, it's
like
like, and that it was making me very upset because it was like one of the things they kept saying too is like, oh, I read this lesbian book written by a lesbian. It was really male gazy, and I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, they kept describing the women's bodies in this really sexual way in the sex scenes, and I was like, you're mad that a
the
woman who loves women described women's bodies in a way that is sexy in a sex scene in the sex book.
yeah, yeah.
Dude,
It's
I like
like
you start developing a twitch, like you're just like, and I was like, I was trying to be like, active female desire is not predatory.
yeah, yeah,
That is
yeah.
Christian, like Nazi shit, like you know, like Christo fascist bad way of thinking. And like active male desire isn't innately evil either. Like it's just like every being wants to feel pleasure. I have had pain for like 8 years. You want to feel good sometimes. And like wanting to feel good with somebody you like or a stranger isn't bad. Like
I'm like I yeah, I don't know. I look, I spent a lot of my teenage years as a DC goth. I was around tons of lesbians.
sure.
Bitches talk dirty.
Yeah.
They'll talk dirty about a woman to me,
Yeah.
you know, just because I happen to be there to be listening and they just
A lot of
wanted to
times
say
girls are
something.
a lot of times girls are more comfortable talking dirty. I think because we're more like in touch with our bodies a lot of times. And
Yeah.
we're like always telling each other weird shit anyway. We're like, oh, blood clot came out. How was that guy's dick? Pretty good. Like,
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
like it's kind of like you're already like in the mix of knowing everything about each other. Like somebody was saying, like really close female friendships aren't entirely unromantic to a lot of people, especially straight men, when they observe them. And
Yeah.
it's because like you really do like expose even the nasty, weird, gross parts of you to the women you love very much. So it's like it's
Yep.
like so anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like yes, women can be freaky deaky and have a good old time. So you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll never forget my two favorites were Spike,
Hmm.
the lesbian Spike from DC, and a bi dyke in the area who at the time was named Rachel.
Hmm.
Now they are named Ray.
Okay.
And it was one of those like, oh, turns out Ray's trans.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
That's very. It's very. A lot of that.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, got it. You know, I just, oh, I didn't see that coming, but it makes
Yeah.
sense. And the way Spike would hit on women like a dirty old man.
Just going for it.
No, just absolutely go for it. Like, you know, like literally would just go up to a woman and is like, hey, sweetie, you want to try my lap out? You know, like, I just, you know, and then they would go off together. And I was like,
Wow. You know what? Like
yeah,
they
what?
say,
I
like,
hate I hate the fact that you can do that and make it work.
yeah, girls who like girls do like it when the girl is assertive. A lot of times there's a problem where both of them are just like, are you going to do the hello? Are you going to ask me out? So like a girl who's just straight up like, I want to do I want to put my and your and they're
Yeah.
like, yes, okay, let's go. Like time is being saved. We can make
Yes.
time now. Like, oh, I'm just letting you know if I suddenly disappear, my iPad might be running out of power. I have it plugged in, but I'm sorry. It is kind of late here for me too. It's like it's gonna be past midnight for me soon. But
Oh, okay.
but I'm not just like Irish goodbyeing you. Like, so, but yeah, it's kind of funny because like a lot of my friends want to make, you know, more adult content, and a lot of it's very weird to like see a lot of people in your community or like people you think are going to be on your side, like feminists, being like, there's sex in this media. These women they're describing their boobs so lusciously. You're like,
Oh no.
oh, they're having a good time. like this idea that like queerness to be morally good has to be sexually pure is so sad and like
Oh yeah.
depressing. And it's like, I wish, as weird as it sounds, like sometimes I really wish there was a religion that was just like a fucking really popular sex goddess religion that was like that was like, it's really good to have sex, orgasms are fun, it's good to do this, and like just a really popular one that everybody had to acknowledge was real. Because then whenever people were like, you shouldn't, you should be pure, I'd be like, no, my goddess said if I don't have sex with as many women as possible, I won't get to go to super heaven. You can't leave me from the path away from me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just want that power.
Well, they're used to
always,
like, well,
they always get to play the card, and I'm like, I want one. Me.
yeah. Some ancient civilizations had that. Like even
like, bring it back.
for the long before it became Christian, Rome had that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I want it back.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say like, oh, I worship Aphrodite or whatever, or Dionysus or whoever I want, but like, they're gonna roll their eyes. I want like an institution.
Yeah. You want one that's like that has like an established temple. People make pilgrimages to it.
Yes,
you know?
I want a gift shop. I want a wing.
Yeah, that's very Chinese of you, by the way.
Yeah, I want a wing of the local hospital. Is like, this is this wing of the cancer ward is presented by Our Lady of Big Titties.
Yeah.
Like, I want it. It's my turn. They had it for so long. It's been 2,000 years. Let somebody else have some.
Yeah,
You know,
I was really sad. There was this bar in San Francisco called the Condor.
Ooh.
And the thing that made the Condor famous was it was America's first topless bar.
Okay. Yeah. Fun.
And the main attraction was Carol Doda, who
Okay.
was a San Francisco like stripper,
Okay. Yeah.
and she conceived of the idea because she was like, sometimes man just wants to see boobs,
Yeah.
like, and end of story. So when the Condor like kind of closed down, I was really sad, and because I felt like part of the soul of the city had died.
Right. Yeah.
You
Like, there's
know?
some charm there. It's a little trash, but we're fun with it.
Yeah. It's like there was a part of me that's like, it's an institution, like,
Yeah.
and I don't. There's a part that for some reason, there are very few musicals that I just kind of enjoy
Mhm.
all the way through.
Yeah. Sure.
One of them is Little Shop of Horrors.
I love it. That one. Yeah.
Yeah, because that one's amazing. Another
good.
one is Guys and Dolls.
I haven't seen Guys and Dolls in a long time.
Yeah. I really like Guys and Dolls.
Okay.
I don't know why the scene with Big Julia
Okay.
always got a laugh out of me.
Like, it's been a hot
He's
minute, man.
I'm gonna roll my own dice. All right, let me see them dice. Hey, these dice ain't got no spots. Yeah, but don't worry. I remember where the spots formerly were. I don't know why. I always laugh at that.
That's a good bit.
Yeah.
Because it sounds kind of reasonable for like a half a second. You're like, no.
Wait a minute.
You're like,
And the other part I always really, really liked was Don't Rock the Boat.
Okay.
Because even though in the context of the musical, it is a song about turning away from sin,
Mm-hmm.
I had a different context for it
Mm-hmm.
that Neil Gaiman used,
Okay.
which was in one of the very late issues of Sandman, like in the last story, The Kindly Ones. Actually, technically, that's not the last story, but it's the last story with Morpheus.
Mm-hmm.
Morpheus.
Then it becomes Daniel.
Then it becomes Daniel. Yeah, and then it's about the last story is basically the wake.
Yeah.
But someone tells Lucifer that Morpheus is dying, like he is going to die.
Yeah.
And he's just sort of like, okay, hey, we all got to go sometime. I'm going to go one day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, can't you help him out? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to help him out. Could I fix this? Yeah. Am I going to?
Mm-hmm.
No. He put himself in this situation. He can get himself the fuck out like I did. And while he's having this argument, I forget who he's arguing with, but it was like either Death or Thessaly, or it was someone. It was a major character
Okay.
he's arguing with. There is this guy trying to get him to play the song from Cats, because Lucifer now is plays piano in his bar. Like, this is where in the show Lucifer, that bar is Lux, and Lux comes from Sandman. So he's getting angrier and angrier because you'll be pulled in these two different directions, and he's getting mad. And the other character goes away, and the guy's like, I really want you to play that song from Cats. He's like, no, I'm not going to do that. What? He's like, yeah, I'm not going to play that song from Cats. I hate it. It is trite. Everyone plays it. Everyone requests it, and I'm tired of it. I won't do it. However, I will take your money, and in exchange, I will play you a song that I think is going to be much more appropriate considering the way your evening is going to end. And he starts playing don't rock the boat. Like, in my dream, I was on a boat to heaven, and by some
Yeah.
chance I had brought my dice along.
Mhm.
And that character later dies in a boating accident that
Oh,
night
that's so
with his
funny.
wife. He and his wife die in a
Right.
boating accident.
Oh, that's wild.
And I was like, God,
Oh,
that makes that
that's dark.
so sinister.
Wow. You know, it's really funny. Like, it's funny. Last year, when I was having a bad time, I would listen to some of my favorite songs. So they were often emo songs from when I was a teenager, and I had misheard the lyrics, and I didn't find out until I was feeling better that I'd misheard them. And the what I'd heard in my head was more hopeful than what they were actually saying. One of them is a song by My Chemical Romance, and they basically say like all this bad stuff is happening, and then what I heard was just sing anyway. But what they were saying was just sleep, like just give up and go lay down. And I was like, oh fuck. I was hearing like, if everything's shitty, just keep singing, because if that's the only thing you could do, it still matters.
It's still
Just
something,
keep,
yeah.
it's still something. And I'm glad that I'd heard it wrong. And the other one was a line from Coheed and Cambria, which is, and I liked it because my stomach hurt all the time, but it was, when you're sick to your stomach, just pull out the knife. And they say, oh no. And I thought they were saying, when you're sick to your stomach, just pull out the knife and hold on. And that was how I heard the song. So I would listen to it when I was sad.
Oh.
And I was like, I found out later I was hearing the words wrong. It's just really funny how art, like you can just hear art just a tiny bit different. And if you're having a certain kind of time, like those two songs like help me hang on. And I'm like, later I'm like, that's not the meaning of
That's what, that's not what that song's about, Yeah. Oh, Neil Brescia is talking about the punchline and Big Julie like rolling the dice, and everyone's like, do we say anything? Well, you look at that. 11.
Yeah.
I came here to shoot crap.
Yeah, well. But gosh, I'm sorry. I am getting sleepy. My thing is dying. Did you have any other people that can join you tonight on your chat, I hope?
Oh, I don't know. Like, stay with me for a little bit, and then I'll let you go.
Okay, I'm just saying, it's my iPad is dying, even though I have it plugged in. So if I suddenly blip out, that's why. So
That's why.
Okay, I'll keep talking to you until it turns off. So we'll be playing this game. So let's see, what else have I been up to? I've been working on my point and click adventure game. That's been fun. And I've been watching,
yeah,
I've been watching,
the other Happy Place.
I'm getting back into it. It's really, I feel like I'm so rusty with all of my creativity because I've been like a bit out of commission. So I'm like, no, I know how to do it. I'm like trying to draw and stuff, but it's coming together. It's going to be really cool. My friend works in a lot of indie games, and she's the one who's like co-making the game with me. So that's been
excellent.
good. Yeah, and then like what was I gonna say? What horror movies have I watched recently? I watched Late Night with the Devil. I liked that.
That's a
that
great
was pretty
one.
Fun. It was fun. I really loved the visual of when her head split open. I thought that was very like nice visual. That was very lovely. I felt really bad for. I love sidekicks on late night shows. Like Conan had one forever. What was his name? But I loved him. Andy? Andy.
The Ed McMahons.
Yes, I love those guys. He was so sweet. I'm like, that guy did not deserve anything that was happening. He was like, you're a good man. Just end this now and we can all go home. And I'm like, he's not a good man. You're a good man. You should go home.
Like, someone is asking what the game is about and will it be on Steam?
Ooh. Oh, my game. Okay, so the game is it is a point and click horror adventure game. It's going to be 2D. So I'm inspired kind of by Clock Tower, but it's not going to be pixel art anymore. So I'm just going on for like my full like kind of comic book art style. And the main character is Vinny, and basically she finds herself waking up on a tour bus that she doesn't remember getting on, and they're outside of an art museum. And she gets off with the crowd, goes inside, and she goes inside, and a lot of the art will be just like things I've already made on the walls, but I'm making whole new things. So basically, as she goes into the art museum, when she turns around, the door behind her is gone. So she has to solve puzzles to get through the museum until she gets outside. And of course, it's a horror game, so it's a bit of out of the
frying pan into the fire.
Into the fire.
Yeah.
So, but the horror in the game is cosmic horror. So, and a lot of like themes with like body horror and things like that. So basically, there'll be art pieces that look kind of normal until she solves something to do with them, and then they'll like come open, like centipede will crawl out, like different things will happen. I'm coming up with all sorts of awful things to happen, which I'm really excited about because I'm so excited to make something scary. And like I'm getting back to that part of my brain. It's so fun. I'm so jealous. Not jealous. That's not the good word. What's the word when you're happy jealous? It's like I have a colleague named Abby Howard, and
I
she
know what
made a
you
game.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a colleague named Abby Howard, and she made a game called Slay the Princess, which is on Steam.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super duper popular. She has sold 200,000 copies of that game, and I'm like, I think the team on that game is small. It's like her and her husband, and I'm just like so impressed. And like comparison is the thief of joy, but like I have to remind myself I've been sick and out of commission because I love finishing things and getting stuff out there. And like you've been sick too. You were very sick for a while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I have all these health problems and like I'm still recovering and like, but I frequently feel very behind and like people are impressed with me and I forget that because I'm always comparing myself to the best. I'm not like
Yeah.
I'm always climbing. I always want to like there's a goal in mind I have and like I'm trying to get better at just like acknowledging like, oh, I did something cool. It is good that I published a book and it sold 6,000 copies. That's something people dream about. That's something admirable. I have to like force myself to see what I've already done. Otherwise I get in a state of self-loathing where I'm just like, no matter what I do, I can't be impressed or satisfied.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's not good.
Yeah. No, that's bad.
That's not a good way to be. It's like you can make yourself very sick like that. And like
Yeah.
and you don't want to do that. So I'm trying to get better at that. And like, but Jacksepticeye, this streamer, he was saying like when he lists out his accomplishments, sometimes he feels really weird because they don't feel real. And it's not quite imposter syndrome, but I guess it kind of is, but it's like you feel a weird kind of embarrassment or shame sometimes. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. That's imposter syndrome. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like sometimes I feel like, oh yeah, that was really good, but if I tried harder, I bet I would have done better. I bet I was slacking a lot. I bet I could have, I could have done this or that. And
Yep.
it's such a shitty.
Yep.
It's not conducive to making art to be in a state like that either. Is something I've realized. Like I'm trying to write this novel, and I want it to be fun and good and sexy and scary and whatever. And like when I'm in the state of imagining everyone is going to hate this, I don't know all the rules of grammar. I'm not going to be able to make a good story. I'm not writing. I'm just like this. Like it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's no good. But I was saying this to my friend, and she had some really cool input about it because I was trying to explain it to my dad because we both have very similar mental health issues of like guilt and sadness, things like that. And like, he was saying like, oh, I can't wait till I retire. Then I won't feel bad about myself when I mess up at work. And I was like, Dad, you're like really good at your job. You shouldn't feel bad about yourself right now. You shouldn't have to wait until you retire to feel good about yourself. And he's like, that doesn't sound realistic. And I was like, no, but I understand because I've published a book and then I'll feel bad about myself because I didn't do a book and this and that. And I didn't get it on this list. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
that's me being a crazy person. And I say that with love towards myself, but that's me being a crazy person because Matt Groening said the same thing. He drew a little cartoon of himself and it was like success and he was sad and it was like a failure and he was sad. It was the same little bunny twice.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, but that's interesting because that means the feeling isn't contingent upon reality.
No,
so
it's not.
If the feeling isn't contingent upon circumstance, that means I can change the feeling regardless of the circumstance, right? The feeling. So I'm trying to like, and I was asking my friend about it. I was like, I default to talking really shitty about myself in my head and criticizing everything I do and assuming failure before failure even can happen. And she's like, well, you grew up, with people being very mean to you and your brain developed a habit of that is how you talk to yourself. And so she said, you have to on purpose form a habit where you talk good to yourself and it's going to feel shitty and fake for a very long time. but eventually you
Yeah.
do start to creak over. So it's like rivets, or not rivets, divots in the road, like with
Yeah.
wagon wheels. It's just dug in really deep. So when my brain is going down the road, it just is like goes into this ditch, and it's like I have to on purpose pull my little car out of
Yeah.
the ditch and be
Yeah.
like,
You have to
"You
on
can
purpose
drive,
change it. Yeah.
you can do it," and it feels really phony and like funny, but it is starting to work. And I do like, at least you don't like lie to yourself so much, because
Oh, damn it. Oh. Oh. Well, we knew it was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen, and we pressed on anyway. Well. Something I definitely wanted to add is, not to get like too down, but it is entirely possible to get everything you want out of something and still feel like a failure. It is totally possible. It happened to me. I could tell you exactly what that was. That was when I got on Channel Awesome. That felt really good for about 2 weeks, and then it just turned into ashes in my hands. And that sucked. That sucked. But that does go to show how you feel about things ain't necessarily the way it is. You want to learn being happy is its own skill. Being contented is its own skill. There are these little mental, it's a mental gymnastics for sure. But it's one that's worth doing. Yes, kitty? You're looking over in that corner like there's a ghost. I don't. Cat's looking at ghosts. Because he's not looking at the door. He's looking like next to the door. Are you defending me from ghosts, buddy? I hope so. All right. But yeah. I mean, not, like I said, not to get too down, but like, no, that can happen. That can happen, and it might, And to me, it ultimately goes to show that in and of itself doesn't matter. That's not what matters. You're looking for something that you enjoy doing for the sake of doing it. Everything else will eventually become a chore. I know, Kitty Loaf. He's loafing. He's cat loafing. I want to pet him, but that would probably ruin everything. Then he'll move or something. Okay, I'm going to risk a quick pet. Okay, I'm looking. All right, he's giving me the eye that's sort of like, I like this, but I am going to be done soon. Done liking it soon. Watch yourself. Aww. Are you worried that the dog is going to come in at any moment and start barking? Cat's looking at you on the big TV right now. He's looking at the bright light and the flashing images. Oh man. But yeah. I I don't know what to say other than I try not to judge people by what they do for a living. I mean, if you're a hitman, I might judge you for that. But, like, I don't think that the guy who rings me up at the corner store is any less than, like, the executive over at Google. And in fact, I probably have a higher estimation of the guy from the corner store. Why? He rings me up every time. His shit's functional. It's working. I know a lot of people who work behind cash registers can't do that. Yeah, we all got to make a buck somehow. And this is the same guy, by the way. That I don't know if I told you the story. Like he was working at the corner store, and then like he disappeared for a while. And I was like, oh, I guess he got another job. He moved on, did something else. And then I saw him in the store again, and months later. And I was like, oh, hey, where you been? And he was like, I got deported. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I got deported. And I was like, oh, what happened? He's like, I didn't have a green card. Do you have one now? No. Well, how'd you get back into the country? Oh, I just came back in. It's like, what? It's like, yeah. It happens sometimes. It's like, I get deported, live at my mom's place for a bit, come back. And it was at that moment that the true enormity of how pointless the southern border with Mexico is truly sunk in. It's like, did you, how'd you cross the border? He's like, oh, plane. I could just fly to America. I'm just supposed to leave after a while. But they can't, but I'm allowed to come into the country. Oh. I didn't realize it worked that way. It's like, yeah. Yeah. The only reason, the reason that those, we had that refugee thing. He's like, the reason we had that is because, America stopped accepting planes from those areas because of what was going on. So that's when you gotta get the fake ID and everything. It's like, do you have the fake ID and everything? He's like, I'm not telling you that. I plead the fifth. I was just sort of like, and dude just keeps hiring you. He's like, yeah, we're all friends. And it was like, hey, how's dude? And guy's like, he's doing well, does good work. Like, you keep hiring back despite, yep. why he does good work. Like, I thought they were related or something. Nope, not even close. Have I seen the trailer for Crow Country? I haven't. Don Hoff says, I literally drive to places and clean bathrooms and drop off towels. Yeah, I'm like, well, that to me is like, nah, shit's working. Who cares? Oh my God, they're coming in and taking our jobs. Are they? Because it seems like the problem we have is not people doing the work so much as people not paying for the work. You know, like people in the fields, for example. That's hard work. That's super hard. Oh, but we don't want to pay anything more than like illegal wages. Well, okay then. You know, we used to have a system by which this all worked. We had a nice legal system, the Braceras program, back in like the 50s, I think. It was in operation for a very long time, where basically it was like, no, you could just come and work, come to America and work, and then go back to whatever country and then come back. You know, and what was the Braceras program? Well, in exchange for being able to like work and buy property in the United States, even though you weren't a citizen, you were paid less. You know, you could legally be paid less. Not sure that's fair, but whatever. Like, they make more money doing that here than they do it in their home country. So it kind of works out. And all the laws did was make that illegal? It didn't stop it. Like, you went to a grocery store today and there was produce, wasn't there? Yeah, you had no one's call you back. Labor shortage, my ass. Yeah. Yeah, remember, Reagan's grave is a public toilet. Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, they ended the Braceras program. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, it's those illegal immigrants. And I was like, no, those are all the immigrants you made illegal. There's a difference. That didn't used to be illegal. That used to be the way things were just done, and it was all above board. I mean, they were still kind of getting screwed. Like, they were still getting screwed, but they weren't getting, like, deported because they did the cost-benefit analysis of deporting people, and they were like, actually, we lose a lot of money this way. Because then we have to pay for all that sending people back. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. Yeah, who pays for all the deportation? We do. We do. We pay for it. It's our money. Yeah, you pick strawberries for pennies a bushel. Yeah, you do it. You know, and it's like, oh, turns out white people didn't want to do it. They quit after 2 weeks. Yeah. because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. So the only person who's going to do it is a person who's getting something out of the deal, is getting something better out of the deal than they would have gotten somewhere else. Like, Americans will starve before they start doing those jobs. Crow Country. Yeah, let's check out the Crow Country trailer. Oh, it's a video game. Get that TV on there. Oh, hold on. Okay. All right. Let's turn the sound on, restart it. I don't know why it's called Crow Country, but like it looks cool. Yeah, let's see what horror games are coming out. Upcoming horror games. All right.
2023 saw some incredible horror games, from AAA games like Dead Space Remake, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and Alan Wake 2, to indie titles like My Friendly Neighborhood, Sons of the Forest, Amnesia the Bunker, and Slay the Princess. It creates the question, after such an incredible year, what can 2024 bring? Genre, really, it was Alone in the Dark that started. 4 is a reimagining of the first game, incorporating Resident Evil 4's now iconic over-the-shoulder survival action horror style. Hopefully, it will reinvigorate the franchise and be
When
something
Kara's
to look
beating
forward
up a
to.
zombie.
Stalker 2 has had a turbulent development cycle,
Stalker
to say
2.
the least. It was first planned to release in 2012 before ultimately being cancelled. The game was then set to release in 2022, but the unfortunate war in Ukraine obviously impacted the Ukrainian developer GSC Game World. However, The game is still on track to release, and like previous games in the series, merges FPS action with creepy environments, survival horror elements, and radioactive monsters. With Stalker 2, GSC Game World has created an open world with a non-linear story. Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl is set to release sometime Q1 2024. Featuring some truly
I don't think that
disturbing
happened.
visuals, Dark Fracture is an upcoming first-person psychological horror title. You'll stumble across areas like the Body Farm, which is filled with what looks like strange corpses, find body horror creatures, limbs protruding from walls, and giant Lovecraftian-esque monsters. Dark Fracture is set to release sometime in 2024. Hop aboard an oil rig and experience the joy of flooded and claustrophobic environments as you discover something else is there with you. And what that is, well, we still don't know. But creepy noises were abound in the first gameplay trailer. Still Wakes the Deep is being developed by the Chinese Room, the same studio behind Dear Esther and Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs, and is certain to bring scares when it releases early 2024.
Didn't they also do
The first Hellblade brought players into the mind of the tormented Senua. Senua suffers
this
from
one I
psychosis,
know
and the
that
Hellblade
came
developer
out.
Ninja Theory worked with neuroscientists and people living with the condition in order to best represent the feeling of this mental illness. The game successfully utilized horrific imagery and audio in order to induce a sense of terror and dread as players experienced what was constantly happening in Senua's mind. The much-anticipated sequel expands on the events from the first game and looks to bring players right back into the tormented mind of Senua. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is set to release sometime in 2024. The third entry into the Little Nightmares series is on its way, although this time under a new developer. While Little Nightmares 1 and 2 were both developed by Tarsier Studios, Little Nightmares 3 will instead be developed by Supermassive Games, who you may recognize from other horror games such as Until Dawn, The Quarry, or the various games that make up the Dark Pictures anthology. Like the games before it, Little Nightmares 3 is a 2.5D platform game focusing on both puzzle and hide-and-seek elements. The world itself is nightmarish, as the name would suggest, taking place in a dilapidated world with giant, horrifying creatures like this baby doll trying to kill you. Little Nightmares 3 is set to release sometime in 2024. If you're looking for something completely different, Bye Sweet Carol looks like a classic Disney animated movie and boldly asks, what if Disney movies were actually terrifying? The gameplay takes place in a 2D adventure style with gorgeous animation resembling Disney and forces you to hide from creepy monsters chasing you. According to Gematsu, Bye Sweet Carol is set to release sometime in 2024. Tormented Souls took inspiration from the classic Resident Evil and Silent Hill survival horror style, but with a fresh story,
Yeah, this
original
was
monsters,
okay.
and modern graphics. Tormented Souls 2 looks to be doing the same and continues the story of the first game's protagonist, Carolyn Walker. Tormented Souls 2 is set to release sometime in 2024. Outside of Resident Evil, Silent Hill is the best-known survival horror franchise, and Silent Hill 2 is the most notorious in the series. Silent Hill 2 was the advent of Pyramid Head, and where the creepy dark nurses really define their style. The games are known for their atmospheric and psychological terror, but haven't been seen since the notorious cancellation of Silent Hills, the game that PT was teasing. Silent Hill 2 Remake doesn't have a set release date yet, but it could be 2024, and I, for one, sure hope it is. There's also a brand new Silent Hill in the works, Silent Hill F. That said, like Silent Hill 2 Remake, the game has no set release date, but I still wanted to mention it, just in case. And speaking of which, none of the following games have a set release date yet, but we know they're on their way, and there's always the off chance they could be released in 2024. Continuing the Silent Hill train topic, the director of the original Silent Hill, Keiichiro Toyama, went on to found his own game studio in 2020. In 2021, he revealed his first project, Slitterhead, which, from its first trailer shown at the Game Awards 2021, seems to involve fighting people with Junji Ito-inspired body horror as they become horrific insectoids. Like Silent Hill, there's still no set release date. If FPS action fighting off against creepy body horror-esque monsters is your thing, it would seem to have you covered. That said, our one and only look at the game was a teaser trailer, Creeping Distress, for the 2022 Future Games Show, as well as a 2021 teaser on the Team Clout YouTube channel. so we'll have to watch for any updates on a potential release date. First announced a decade ago, Routine is back with a brand new trailer that revealed at Summer Game Fest 2022. The trailer shows creepy, futuristic sci-fi horror with a disturbing robotic being capturing and presumably killing the player near the end. As of writing, there's still no set release date. Paranormal Tales takes the idea of found footage and turns it into a creepy game, with each tale taking place from the viewpoint of body cams, phones, and VHS cameras.
Ooh.
The Man Downstairs footage
Ow.
from earlier in 2023 shows everyone's deepest fear of somebody, or something, being inside
Oh,
your
this one's
home
gonna
on its
give me
way to
motion
murder you.
sickness.
Meanwhile, 2022 showcased a teaser in a forest and a terrifying ghost. After Silent Hills was cancelled, fans of PT were absolutely gutted. PT stood out as an incredibly immersive and terrifying horror experience, even if it was just a brief teaser for Silent Hills. However, Hideo Kojima, the mastermind behind PT, not to mention Death Stranding and Metal Gear Solid, is finally returning to the horror genre with the help of none other than horror director Jordan Peele. At the Game Awards 2023, the duo announced OD with an atmospheric teaser that revealed, well, almost nothing, yet still showed a game that ebbed with a blood-curdlingly scary
And it had Udo
essence.
Kier in it.
There's no release date, but we'll be waiting. What has you the most excited, and do you think you'll find to be the most terrifying?
The hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started vending and quacking.
The hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started vending and quacking.
The hungry
Udo!
purple dinosaurs ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started vending and quacking.
Udo Kier! Yeah, we'll see if that happens. Let's see. Horror games coming in. 2023.
Had a collection of horror games you're familiar with, and some you might never have.
Still Wakes the Deep. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Between the Waves. Hollow Body. Okay. This is not one the other one mentioned.
Third-person horror games are a rare treasure these days due to the dominance of the first-person ones, and that's why
What is this, Dino Crisis? Lost Wild. Okay. Dinosaur horror?
This one is definitely needed on the list because I'm pretty sure dinosaur horror fans have been looking for something like this for years, and hopefully 2024 will be your year. The Lost Wild is a survival horror.
Howdy, howdy, George.
To the living, death to the dead.
We are banishers. We end suffering for those who live. We bring closure to those who don't.
Some of you might argue if this is technically a horror game or not, but I think the fact that it contains ghosts should end the debate, and that's enough for me. I mean, it's in the name. Anyway, this game looks interesting. Whatever genre you want to include it in. It promises.
See, wrong does.
I'm looking for someone.
Forgive us our trespasses.
You're too late. They're all gone.
Wrong Dust is a game that I talked about before, and I'm glad to talk about it again because it simply feels different and looks like how third person.
Let's see, this one's called Death Ground. Oh, it's another dinosaur one.
I talked earlier about how dinosaur games are needed in the horror genre, and that.
Super normal. Okay.
After the cancellation of Kojima's PT 10 years ago, indie developers were competing to make a game that could emulate the experience as much as possible. And the stronger game that succeeded in this was Allison Road. However, ironically, the game ended up having the same fate as PT and got canceled. But apparently the story didn't end there, because next year might actually be the year when we can live in that same atmosphere again, but on a larger scale. Supernormal is directly inspired by Allison Road, and the developer himself mentioned this. And here, you will find yourself in a house that looks normal at first, but is full of dark and mysterious secrets that you're not meant to know. You play the role of a detective who is on a mission to investigate the disappearance of the daughter of Masato Sakamoto, a man whose identity I don't know. The gameplay involves voice recognition.
So, your uncle, what's wrong with him?
He says a dark man is following him, watching him at all times.
Oh, Narlathotep.
No, 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 you stay back!
Alone in the Dark is probably the game that people with nostalgia are mostly waiting for. It's a franchise that gamers have enjoyed in the last 3 decades, since the 1990s. However, the new remake is...
Ordosis. Okay. Okay. Alien horror.
Indie developers can sometimes exceed our expectations and impress us with a breathtaking experience, and Shardosis is an example of that. It's a game that introduces you to an extraordinary cosmic survival sci-fi horror experience that revolves around the creepy theme of alien abductions. The events take place in Hungary, and even though UFO sightings in the country have been infrequent, with only a handful of
War of the Worlds. Tales, and the last one's Silent Hill remake. So, and all right. Ooh, Evil Mermaid. Evil Mermaid. You play the Evil Mermaid? Well, that looks cool. Megalodon. Autopsy Simulator. Oh, is this gonna be like the autopsy of Jane Doe, the video game? I could do that. Echoes of the Living. World of Horror? Yeah, I actually have it. Okay, let's move ahead. Little Nightmares 3, yeah. Fracture.
weather conditions identified.
You think? What gave it away?
Several of my atmospheric sensors are reading concerning levels
That was a
of...
rhetorical question, Beeb.
I recommend that we establish a safe landing zone with the utmost urgency.
It's okay.
It's all right. We will. We're about
Like, it's
3 miles
neat.
out from where Sasha was posted. You think you can hold on?
There is a statistical probability that ignoring these warnings may result in an incident with fatal repercussions. Sorry, I'm unable to process your request. The root function termination is protected and will require administrator approval.
Shit.
Well, the other fucking thing didn't tell me that the hollow body was set in the future. Like, that might have been important to know. Wow! Zoochosis. Rescue the animals. Okay.
Now you are a zookeeper. The job is not difficult. You have nothing to worry about.
Okay, this is a concept. Oh, no. No, no, oh, God. But, okay. Dude, you might want to look up. Dendy. Jesus. Meth monsters, they're coming for you. Yeah. Got neck. Okay. Oh boy. This is, I think that's ill. Yeah, this is ill. we already know about.
What are you thinking?
Still
You carry your own
wakes the
things
deep.
now, please, Cass. I want you home. The girls want you home, but
Hi, kitty. Oh, this one. Well, it's definitely Japanese.
Whatever's down there is too dangerous.
Casting of Frank Stone.
Telling myself I won't go there. Oh, but I know that I won't care. Trying to wash away all the blood I've spilled. This loss is a burden that we both share. Two sinners can atone from a lone prayer. Souls tied, intertwined by pride and guilt. Darkness in the distance.
I don't even know what Indigo Park is. Let's see. Let me see. Indigo Park. Huh. I don't know. This doesn't look like my cup of tea.
This loss is a burden that we both share. Two sinners can atone from a lone prayer. Souls tied, intertwined by pride and guilt. Darkness in the distance from the way that I've been living, but I know I can't resist it.
I wonder what happened to post-trauma?
Oh, I love it and I hate it at the same time. Hiding all of our sins from the daylight, running from the daylight.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Gasparini, also known as Mew, and I'm the composer for Post-Drama. For over 10 years already, I write horror music and upload it to my YouTube channel. Hundreds of tracks for the online community, which have been used by many horror creators and game developers over the years. Post-Drama is a game that pays tribute to the survival horror games I grew up with. All the classic mechanics, puzzles, atmosphere,
Hello everyone.
Creators and game developers channel. For over 10 years already, I write horror music and also known as Mew, and I'm the composer for Post-Drama. For over 10 years already, I write horror.
Okay. Well, that's Interesting. Frank Stone. 4 weeks ago. Okay. This one's called The Forever Winner. The environment looks neat. Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff coming down the pipeline. Oh, thanks for the donation, Yishify. Hail Satan, Yishify. Let's give Yishify a Hail Satan. Robots in disguise.
Shall not flinch from crushing any insurgency or uprising with the inexorable.
This is a stark admonition to all who would presume.
Damn, this Zelda reboot is off the hook. happened to me? Okay, we already saw this one. This is necrophosis.
All right, let's get out of here before something else breaks. Oh, shit.
Paranormal Activity, the game? Okay, I'm scared. What, that's it? I was thinking bad scared.
Now go downstairs to the basement and lock the door. Don't open the door to anyone.
All right, this is called War Trauma. Or EXP War Trauma? That was just the tip teaser. Yeah. Agreed. Oh, someone's got a pantalone that they let go bad. Assholes, you eat that shit. Or it goes bad, it's pantalone. Oh, okay. Well, we already saw this one. All right, so what's Ilmata? Numata. Spuds McKenzie. Come on, man. You put me to sleep.
Скіфе? Що ти тут робиш?
Alright, that's Stalker 2. All right, let's move ahead. Sinking City. All right, you can see a monster. All right, move ahead.
Find new life forms. A data leak started to spread. And so, Horizons was conducting military experiments, crossbreeding the human genome with alien DNA. And so, the nightmare began. Now, competing megacorps all over the world are sending mercenaries to retrieve this research data by all means necessary.
What are my thoughts on the first Sinking City controversy? What was it? Like, I kind of don't get involved in controversies of any media at all anymore. I just don't have time for it. So if you ask me what I think about a given controversy, I probably have never heard of it. You know? Let me Sinking City Pro. See? Sinking City was pulled from some platforms back in 2020 due to disputes between Frogwares and Nacon. I have no idea the details, so all right. I think Bandai was cheating Frogware out of a lot of money. Jesus. Well, you should pay people. You should do what you promised. About where my mind is on that. All right. I think I'm starting to fade, so I think it'd probably be a good idea for me to like end it here for right now. I want to thank everybody for coming down. I especially want to thank Flashman and Yishify for the donations. I want to thank all of you for coming down. I love spending time with you guys, and I will see you again on Monday around 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on YouTube. Until then, Ave Satanas, Disco Inferno. Remember, Satan and I love you all very much. Good night, everyone.